Hello everyone, welcome to How Did It Begin Talk Show. I'm here again, your host Kelly, to give you always a new and fresh true story coming from our friends. We've got another hot show for you. Our today's interesting topic that will give you a lot of informations and advices coming from our beloved audiences. Mother-in-law wants my husband to leave our marriage and come home to her. Reminder, if you are a parent out there in our audience, please be advised that the content of today's show is not appropriate for younger viewers. Today's guest is Claudia, 26, living in France. She will confess her true personal story about her insane mother-in-law. Let us listen to her confession and also let us hear beautiful advices here from our audiences.
Mother-in-law wants my husband to leave our marriage and come home to her. Blatantly stated this to him. We're in our mid to late 20s with a mortgage and careers, married for 1 year, and plan to spend the rest of our lives together. Her wild and desperate request for my husband to leave his entire life behind to come back home to her came after he chose to cut off communication with her. She has caused him a lot of pain, and there's a surplus of childhood trauma to unpack, which he's working very hard on in therapy currently, and has been for the past several months. Along with mother-in-law's plea for my husband to move back to her house and ditch his whole life, she raged about how I'm a horrific person, a narcissist, and how my husband is a puppet in my show. Last night, the top of my Facebook feed was my mother-in-law commenting on my stepmom's FB, thanking her for the chat, and my stepmom responding back thanking my mother-in-law for the very enlightening conversation. My father and stepmom have been out of my life for a very long time, and my mother-in-law is completely aware of this. My stepmom unblocked me on FB just so I would see that post. Just, what do people do in these situations? My husband is in so much emotional pain right now. It only makes it worse when he sees that I'm in pain, which of course I am when mother-in-law brings my estranged family into the drama, because that brings up a lot of upsetting feelings for me. I went ahead and did something I never do, which is block them both on social media so I won't see anything like that again. But I don't want to cause my husband any more hurt because he's trying to deal with this cutting off of his mother right now. That's a big step for him, and he deserves to go through all the emotions that come along with that, and I don't want to give her the power by being hurt by any of the daggers she's trying to passive-aggressively throw my way. Why are women in their 50s such tantrum-throwing children? The children I know are way better behaved than the older women in my life. Where my wholesome and healthy female role models at? Goodness, I really have a mother-in-law from hell. And a stepmother from hell at that.
Why wouldn't you block them all? Your mental health is just as important as dear husband. If they don't bring joy and happiness to your life, they don't need to be in your life.
You're right. I've struggled with the idea of blocking them because my stepmother has blocked me on social media several times before in the past as a way to punish me or hurt me while I was trying to work on my relationship with my father. But at this point, clearly there's no relationship there with any of those mentioned.
Please remember that you're not blocking them to punish them. You're blocking them to protect yourself from their toxic behavior. You and dear husband deserve to have peace and quiet to heal from the abuse these women have committed. Block them all on every platform. Get rid of Facebook. It is a huge improvement in life. It's a horrible pit of boomer vipers. I swear these women are more hateful and bitter than they would be otherwise, and everyone's mental health is better without that festering shithole of idiocy.
Honestly, it's a huge consideration for me at this point, to be honest.
Try deactivating for a week and see how you feel. I deactivated mine over a year ago and I never logged back on. It's been amazing. Once I've saved all my photos elsewhere, I'll delete it entirely.
This advice is great, seriously. First block them though, so they can't go contacting you via Messenger if you decide to keep it. And if you don't reactivate your Facebook for whatever reasons, they can't start immediately stalking your page, and posting things to try and trigger you. Because I'm betting they will keep searching your name to try and find your profile, and even your husband's if he has Facebook, make sure he blocks them too. And block them on any other social media you may have obviously. My nerves have improved 100% since I deleted my FB app. I use Messenger to talk to family.
Best comment I've ever read about FB. I deactivated my account many times but always got sucked back in. Finally, I deleted my account 5 or 6 years ago, one of the best decisions I've ever made.
It's never inappropriate to block people who are trying to stir up trouble in your life. I would strongly advise that you and your husband block your stepmother and your mother-in-law from all forms of social media as well as your phones. If that doesn't cool them down, get a restraining or no contact order. You and your husband need to focus on your paths to healing. That is hard to do when you are in defensive mode, hunkered down waiting for the next attack from these bitter older women.
We are seriously looking into how to get no contact orders. His grandmother actually showed up at his work.
Please make screenshots of everything these two women said and done. Document everything, and keep several backups. If you come to a point where lawyers will be involved, you can show this. Also install some cameras around your house.
OMG, I love this. I was so close to commenting something, but in the moment I was more hurt and frozen than anything else. I've been in therapy doing eye movement desensitization and reprocessing for complex post-traumatic stress disorder related hugely to my father and stepmother, so let's just say even seeing her name caught me off guard in a triggering way.
Whatever your worst thoughts are about those two getting together, the information that was acquired, it's probably worse. My aunt was as toxic as they come. She and my mom were born 10 years apart and my aunt told my mom, "I've hated you since the day you were born." For some unknown reason, my sister began a relationship with my aunt and they would talk on the phone. As soon as she got off the phone with my sister, my aunt would call my mom and just twist the knife that her daughter talked to her and not her mother. She used it as a weapon and it tore my mother apart. Your mother-in-law probably thinks she has an arsenal of weapons she can use to hurt you or use on her son to break you up. Going no contact is a very good idea. I'm sorry you're going through this. Please try and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much for sharing this. I definitely think you're right that my mother-in-law believes she now has a locked and loaded arsenal of crap to use against me, and my stepmom probably thinks she does as well. I've been through something similar to what you described already with my parents, and it feels like being beaten down by life to have my mother-in-law drag them into this drama with me as a target again, but I know who I am and my husband does too, and we're only looking forward at the life we want. The toxicity of people who want to do nothing but drag other people down is just pointless and it holds no place in our lives. Just because we were born into their lives with the label of family, doesn't mean we can't choose to change that now as adults. We can take that power back for ourselves now.
I highly recommend that the two of you find a good marriage counselor. Not because your marriage is in jeopardy, but because it would be a great place for y'all to discuss how you feel and build a path forward. It's wonderful that he is already in therapy and has made the decision to cut communication with his abusive mother.